Good afternoon, it is Barbara, the East Coast Dragon Lady, here on a Saturday, just after midday, and I'm coming to you with my weekly message. I know I jumped on 2 days in a row last week as the dragons were giving me lots of messages that they wanted me to channel out to you, and as I said, if you caught my last video, they are preparing me because in 2 weeks time, this weekend, next week, on the 13th, Friday the 13th and Saturday the 14th, I'm actually going to be in Western Mass and I'm going to be channeling the dragons. So that will be interesting, and they're certainly getting me prepared. This week I have had lots of animal and bird visitors, which I find again interesting as I'm finding as things are shifting for me. I've had all sorts of things showing up on my back deck. I've got a raccoon that's eaten half of my wall. Hopefully he's gone now. I haven't seen him, and no more damage to the wall, but significant damage to a wall that goes out to the to my garden. I've got a resident rat, which was here and actually is using the wall. It's like a double wall to go backwards and forwards. And even though animal control, so I live in a condo and we have pest control. They know, and they say it's part of living on a condo. So I'm like, why would I worry then? So it's a small rat. And I'm very aware that they carry disease and we've got to be careful with those, but it seems to be part of what's going on for me, sort of in the back of my condo. Lots of different birds, but I've been having a visit from a crow. And it's sort of like you can't miss a crow. Actually, I think this could also be a raven. I've actually been doing some research, and it is a big black bird. So I think it's a raven, but they sort of carry the same message. It's definitely a visit from the other side. It's all about, actually I know I posted that. It's gone way out of my head for now. But just pay attention this week to what's visiting you. I've got lots of birds every day. I do have feeders out the back. And yes, I know, because I have feeders, it attracts other wildlife. But it's just been interesting. Oh, the goddess Ostara has shown up again. That's interesting because she showed up this week for us, which is about fertility. And she is, it is the perfect time for you to start new projects, access new ideas, and give birth to new conditions. So that I know is for me. I'm sure it's for a lot of you as well. I also wanted to mention, and I meant to mention this last week, if you can hear a smoke detector beeping, this is just the weirdest thing. About 4 years ago, at the end of COVID, I had some alterations done on my stairs because I needed some handrails and all sorts of things done. And they built a closet over the stairs and raised the ceiling. In that project, somehow the smoke detector got put it, and I hadn't realized it was in the wall. It just sort of disappeared. I bought a new smoke detector, and then it started beeping. And this was at least 4 or 5 years ago. Started beeping. There was no way I could find it. We just had to live with it until the battery died. So that was at least 2 years ago. And then last week, it started beeping again. Actually, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks now? Yeah, because my brother's been gone. 2 weeks ago, it started beeping again. And I'm like, why has it come to life? I don't know. Anybody got any insights into that? I think it's just trying my patience, because I find it highly annoying. Because if it was my smoke detector, I would change the battery, but I can't find it. It's somewhere in the wall. And I did actually want to try and find it, but I was in the wrong spot and I would just have holes all over the wall. So I was not going to continue that. But yes, highly frustrating. But so if you hear it beeping, I've closed my door. If you hear it beeping, I am aware my smoke detector's beeping. So just thought that there's always something funny happening in my house. Also, actually, my son believes, or he has visits from different people from the other side. And I was in talking to him in his room the other day, and his bedside light turned off. And I was like, whoa, that's weird. And he said, well, no, actually, it's the woman from Maine. And I was like, the woman from Maine? He goes, yeah, she keeps coming in here and turning off the light. So I said, well, tell her to stop turning the light off. The other goddess is Vesta, which is about home. As I was talking about my smoke detector, your household situation is improving, either through a move or a healthy change in the occupants. So maybe it's a healthy change in the occupants. I know, I keep getting cards that say that I'm moving. So I don't know what that's about. I am, this morning was miserable. My unprofessional weather forecast here in the northeast. I woke up this morning to it being very dark, cool, wet, lots of rain, but just after midday the sun's come out, so hopeful. Of course now, because it's going to be humid, so we can't win here. We're either freezing cold or hot and humid. So let's just get one more goddess card. Oh, Shakmet, be strong. You are stronger than you think. You are your strength. You and your strength assures a happy outcome. I'm actually loving these goddess cards out there. They've been very accurate. I've done a few readings using them. Spoke to a few people using them. So I definitely like those. Tomorrow, I am going to be doing an in-person psychic fair in Beverly, Mass. My friend's sister is my friend Annie. Her sister is, they run a spiritual church, and they are having their first psychic fair. So the dragons and I, along with a few others, are going to tag along, definitely the goddess. The unicorns and the fairies have already told me they're coming with me, along with the dragons. So, and I apparently have a couple of people booked. So it's 1 to 4 tomorrow, if you're in the area. I know most of my people that follow me on YouTube are not always in the state of Massachusetts, but if you happen to be, that's where I'm going to be. I will post the flyer again. So let's see what the dragons have to say. I didn't come prepared at all today. I'm in the middle of, I was trying to find, I'm actually going, so after this next weekend, I'm going to be overnight, and I'm like, where's my overnight bag? Because I haven't traveled for a while. So I had to go through my closet here to find it. And of course that meant I had to rearrange things, pulled out a few things for tomorrow. So that's, it's always interesting. So I thought I will just do cards for this upcoming week. My voice is rather crackly. I think it's the pollen. It's still pollen season here. I don't know. Probably my throat chakra as well. What else has been coming? Oh yes, yesterday. So I don't know if others have been feeling this way, but I have been feeling like not connected, which isn't really like me to feel so unconnected. So I did some grounding, and when I tapped into inner earth, immediately the unicorns and rainbows showed up, and they were showing me these beautiful rainbows. And as you know, I've talked about the dragons. See, the dragons are here because now I've got into. So they've told me that when I'm connecting to incoming dragon collectives, that my confirmation is rainbows. And I was seeing yesterday, the unicorns were showing me rainbows going in rings around Mother Gaia, around the earth, double rings. And in between the rings, so if you imagine rings of rainbows, there was the angels, the unicorns, so the white angels. I posted a picture the other day of an image somebody posted of angels going around the earth. The dragons are in there, these huge white dragons, along with the unicorns. So if you imagine that, however you want, visualize that. That was the vision I was given, and that was the earth is protected it's not only going out into the galaxies, but this double ring around the Earth is also protecting Mother Gaia. Oh, and also the other confirmation I had, so I remembered that somebody who lives in Italy, Alessandro, she has been working on the Vatican and like lots of things that have been going on there. So I thought I would connect with her because, you know, again, even though I know what I've seen or what I've heard is true, it's nice to get confirmation. So the minute I told her that the message I got from the dragons about the dragons being released, she said they, which her community, have been sending lots of white healing light to the Vatican, and that yes, that was happening. So another confirmation that these beautiful dragons are now joining the angels and the unicorns and the rainbows are protecting Mother Gaia, and also they're all on a peace mission. And as I've told you before, I have been told I am part of this current peace mission, somewhere between Earth and out in the galaxies. I'm on both parallel lives, but I'm also in my galactic world. I'm on a peace mission, meeting with many beings from many planets, not just Earth, but mainly other planets, other beings, and that I just find that that's what I'm here for, and the dragons are here guiding me and connecting me. So that's been their message, and they've been very strong in that. They've shown me that they've pushed me forward. They're behind me, and they're like, you need to step into your power. We've brought you here. Now this is up to you. And I do think this month is where I'm stepping into the power of being the peacekeeper, the messenger of peace, and bringing that to other communities. So if this resonates with you, connect with me, because as I said, I'm going out to a different part of Massachusetts in a couple of weeks, and I'm bringing that message out there and hopefully connecting with other communities that are dragon focused, even though that's, as you know, when I give messages, it's not just from the dragons. They will bring in other beings. They will bring in the angels, the archangels, the guides, the goddesses, whatever they tell me, right? Because they're usually like, and you need to get that oracle deck. I've already told them there's a limit to what I can take tomorrow. So don't tell me when I'm there, you need that oracle deck that's back home. So I do have to laugh at my dragons because, so when, I think last week, when I did the channeled message from them, they talked about how there's this changing of the guards, that a lot of dragons that have been here for a long time are now going to leave, and there's a new wave of dragons coming in. They're not brand new dragons. Some of them will be baby dragons, but most of them are well established elders and guardians, again, coming in to stand guard on the earth. They're leaving. And then I heard, I think it was on somebody else's podcast, about how, actually it was somebody's podcast, she was talking about how a lot of people that are currently on Earth are going to choose to leave. It's going to be a choice to leave because we have free will. But there's a lot of souls, some of them will be old souls, are saying, like me, you've heard me say, this is my last incarnation. I'm not coming back to do this again. I'm already in several other things that are going on in other lifetimes. So I don't see myself coming back here. And that's going to be a choice. And that's going to be the choice. So I said to the dragons, well, you told me about dragons. You didn't tell me about humans. So this is where they're funny. So they laughed. And actually, they were rolling around laughing. They're doing it now. They're like, if you imagine those cartoon dragons like rolling around, they're rolling around holding their bellies. And they're like, yeah, you didn't ask us about humans. And I was like, good point, because I just have always thought the messages they're giving me is what I'm meant to hear. They said, you need to ask us if you want to know about the human race. we're telling you about dragons. We're telling you about all things dragon. But you want to know, ask us, we'll tell you. But you need to ask us. And I'm like, that makes perfect sense to me, but I don't know why I didn't think that. But again, another lesson from the dragons, right, is if you want to know something, ask them. The same as if you're catching me for the first time or you've not heard me say this, so many people ask me, how do I connect with my dragons? And I say, talk to them. If you haven't connected with a dragon or a collective of dragons or aware of dragons, oftentimes, and I will say for the most part, a lot of people have never connected with the dragon. They have a conversation with me, and within a week, sometimes even days, dragons will show up just to say, hey, you talked about us, here we are. It may be in the form of a lot of people see sort of rather large eyes, these sort of very beautiful eyes. And dragons have different colored eyes like we do, but it usually tells you sort of what type of dragon they are, like green eyes, earth dragon, that sort of thing. So if you imagine that, so a lot of people often see eyes, and that's usually a dragon. Some people see things in their peripheral vision, not just the dragons, but often if you're seeing other things. Sometimes you hear messages and you might not know who it's from. Ask. I tell my son this all the time. He says, I was having a conversation. And I'm like, well, who are you talking to? And he's like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, well, you can ask them, who am I speaking to? Because when I used to write, I still do write, but when I was doing channeled messages, writing them, I often would say, well, who's this? And they would tell me. Sometimes I didn't know who that was, and other times it would be very clear who it was. So they're standing here going, just ask us. We're not difficult to connect with. They're showing me like angels here and dragons here, and unicorns, they're sort of up here. So they're all around us all the time, but they're sort of sitting there like this going, you only have to ask. Just ask us. And the same if you want to connect with dragons, just put it out there, right? If you're doing a meditation, you can ask during my meditation, if it's in my highest, best good, could you bring in my dragons? Because we all have dragons around us. I've only recently been told that somebody looked back in all my Akashic records, and every single lifetime I've had a connection to dragons. So, which didn't surprise me or her, but it was like, I don't have memory of that. So that's interesting. So, talked about the goddesses. Let's see what actually, while I was talking, there I pulled 3 dragons. There's the daughter dragon. There is the earth dragon. Again, I'm talking about earth. And again, the Atlantis dragon. Now this Jason comes up so many times, usually once or twice a week. Oftentimes it's because we need protection, not either us personally, the earth, the galaxy, whatever. Actually, as I'm saying that we need protection, the galactics are showing me all these ships sort of like this and this and this and this out, that they're there. They're saying we're here. They're using the term galactics. They're like, you don't need to know, just we're prepared. So this is where Jason, the Atlantis dragon, comes in. He's got lots of beautiful colors. Protection, parallel universe, and parallel universal lives. And again, like my top, oftentimes we're living parallel lives, and sometimes we jump. Actually, they're showing me that that is probably what's been happening to me. This feeling ungrounded is because I'm jumping lifetimes. And a lot of people are feeling that. That's sort of, a lot of people, I've also heard people are having nightmares, and some sort of off balance, sort of matrixy sort of shifting of stuff. It's all part of like the earth shifting, we're moving, everything's moving and shifting, because it's a bit like they're showing me going into a sieve and we're being sort of shaken. So we need to be shaken up. There was the glacier in Switzerland that collapsed on a huge village. Very sad. I don't know if any of you saw the clips on, I saw it on YouTube, that they were airlifting cows. And the cows looked like they were going, what's happening to us? They were sort of being airlifted out before the glacier collapsed. So this was predicted. I certainly heard that at the beginning of the year. If you look at any predictions for 2025, there was a lot of collapse of lots of things, collapse of financial systems, collapse of, universes, collapse of, rivers, glaciers, all that sort of stuff. We know that the glaciers and they always say fjords to me. And I think this is because when I was younger, geography was a really favourite subject, and I actually went to Switzerland twice, absolutely fascinated by glaciers. I've never really felt a connection, but certainly when I've been taken to Iceland, and I had an encounter with some Icelandic dragons that are huge dragons, I felt like I'd been there. And they were talking about how as things are melting, that they are coming. So they were showing me a glacier, and as the water level's going down, it's actually dragons are again coming out of, because they've been submerged, and they're now able to come out and fly for the first time. And they're all the colors of the colors in the sky. They're all these beautiful rippling colors, and that's. So I'm having that, sometimes when you start speaking, I'm like, I can't remember what that is. It'll come to me in a minute. So Earth Dragon, I talked about, the Atlantis Dragon, the Daughter Dragon, a special love. This isn't always about just, it could be if you're particularly missing a loved mother, then they're sending you their special love. For a lot of us, and certainly when I did this card, this was the love from a daughter is a special type of love. I think for a lot of us that have incarnated right now, certainly a lot of people in my generation, we struggled with connections to our mothers. I was told after my mother passed that I chose her to play that role in my life, and we were not connected, but it was so that I could become a stronger woman. I won't pick that again. It's like, what was I thinking, right? And so I held a different type of love for my mother, because it wasn't reciprocated. And it was as I got older and matured, I felt I reached out when I needed to know my mum was okay. Sadly, she had dementia, and in our last probably 10 years, it became very apparent and she became very difficult. But, that was what I chose, right? So I often say, what was I thinking when I was on the other side and saying, oh yeah, I had this checklist and I was going, oh, give me that, give me that, give me that. Yeah, I don't want this. Give me that, give me that, give me that. I'm like, clearly, I thought, just give me all the big lessons because I'm not coming back. So that sounds a bit like me. So that's the dragons. Now let's see what the fairies have to say, because they always have something to say. I have found that I've been, since I connected to the fairies and that frequency, that things have been much more interesting. I certainly see things with different eyes, and they've given me that. So those of you that have been working with them, you know what that's like. So let's see. So, oh, look, so now the sun's gone in again. I know we've had a very, very strange spring here in the northeast. We're almost in a drought, even though it's been wet. We didn't have much snow. So, I don't know. So let's see what the fairies have to tell us. Family harmony, which goes along with the goddess Vesta, stand your ground. This keeps coming up. I think this is for me every time, but if it speaks to you, stand your ground. Kindness for them. So I think that this is what I'm feeling about, like, we need to, there are times when we need kindness, and there are times when we need to find kindness in our hearts. So I think it's one of those things that we all want people to be kind to us. So what I'm hearing is, what you put out is what you get back, right? So remember that kindness. Stand your ground, we've just talked about. Where was this one? Be strong. Family harmony, Vesta. So the fairies are saying family harmony and the goddess Vesta. These two cards go together. Your household situation is improving, either through a move or healthy changes in the occupants. So again, move keeps coming up for me. Does it keep coming up for you? The daughter dragon I've talked about. The earth dragon is again reminding us to be present, be grounded, ground yourself, because there's a lot of stuff going. They're saying that out in the galaxies, especially in the astrological charts, there's a lot of things going on. So the earth dragon's reminding us that we need to anchor ourselves in, is what I'm hearing. We talked about the Atlantis dragon and what he usually appears about. Sekhmet is about being strong, and Ostara is fertility, but this is a perfect time to start new projects. So pretty interesting message. But I do, as I said about what's going on, I did just read that on the 3rd, which is Tuesday, that there's going to be planets all aligned, in a row, which I probably won't. I always think I'll get up early and see that. It's just before sunrise on the 3rd that they're going to be, most of the planets will be by eyesight. We'll be able to see them. I'll just look for some good pictures, I think, because I don't like getting up early. And as I'm sitting here, like, I'm looking at Merlin the dragon. And of course Merlin has popped up many times this week because he has something to say. So I think that's it. As said, tomorrow I'm going to be doing a psychic fair. Thursday this week. If you're interested in coming to Dina, who's solely Dina, she often channels her paintings. We're not necessarily doing readings. We're doing we're calling it a community event. No doubt there will be channeled messages from the dragons. We will be pulling some cards. We're limiting to 8 people. It's $33. It's an online event. If you want to come and connect with us, Dina's going to be doing a guided meditation. And I think we are going to try and put these on a more frequent basis, just so that people can come, join our dragon community. We always say we're dragon sisters, or we're both dragon ladies. So I'm the East Coast dragon lady. She's in upstate New York. She's the upstate New York dragon lady. And when we come together, if you've seen any of our, and we've never met in person yet, and we've promised that we will meet this year in person. So it will happen. And that would be fun as well. So if you're interested, go to my Facebook page or Solely Dina's page. There's a flyer there, or you can send me an email, which is eastcoastdragonlady@gmail.com. It's $33, probably 2-hour event, 7 p.m. to 9 on Thursday the 5th. So we hope to see some of you there. Have a good week. Tomorrow I might come back with a whole lot of stuff. Depends, because I'm doing 4 hours of readings. So I might come back with some little gems from the dragons. So stay tuned. If not, I'll see you next week. Have a good one. Thank you.